A $10 million gift from Switzerland-based packaging innovator Amcor to the Michigan State University School of Packaging will establish an endowed faculty position focused on sustainability and support renovations to the School of Packaging building. The contribution is the largest corporate gift in history for the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, home to the School of Packaging.
So we're investing $10.8 million in the partnership. The partnership will create an endowed chair of sustainability professorship who will conduct research into sustainability in the circular economy. In combination with that, we're also contributing towards some necessary building renovations that will offer students, a modern facility and access to state-of-the-art technology. And it really is just part and parcel to our ongoing strategy of open innovation as we strive to develop more sustainable packaging.
That's Fred Steffen, president of Amcor Flexibles North America. Eric Rogner is president of Amcor Rigid Packaging.
Amcor is really excited about growing our partnership with MSU for a couple of reasons. I'd say at the heart of it, though, really at the heart of what Amcor is innovation. That's how we've survived for 140 years. And Lord willing, why we're going to be here for another 140 years into the future. And it's by constantly innovating the state-of-the-art of technology that's allowed us to do that. I mean, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants underneath me that figured out how to make these packages, holding a plastic bottle of core in my hand, for example. They make them lighter weight with whole new design capabilities, now getting them 100% PCR or post-consumer resin. And now we're figuring out how to do even more with that. And it's just astounding what we've been able to do. And we innovate internally, but we also work with partners. And we work with partners all around the world. And as the sustainability, I'll call them opportunities, continue to grow through a variety of different areas. I mean, I think about even in my own space, what we can do with material science, what we can do with additives, what we can do with manufacturing capability, but even more so across the entire ecosystem of the circular economy, from changing consumer behavior. So then they actually are done with it. They put the cap on, put it back in the recycle bin, then every step along the chain. So it comes right back into that bottle. There is so much opportunity out there that as we continue to look for the right set of partners to work with, I mean, head and shoulders, if you're going to work with someone, you're going to work with MSU. I mean, you guys are the best. You have the biggest school for this. You graduate the most folks into the space. We have, last time we checked, about 75 MSU grads active inside of our population. We know that this partnership will drive continued innovation across sustainability, across that ecosystem for us, as well as for the world. The reality is we're big fans of open innovation. We call it open innovation because oftentimes it's not enough just for us to do something or to be aware of it. If we're really going to crack the code on the circular economy and to drive sustainability, everybody has to get involved. I think about a program that we've been partnering with the American Beverage Association on that they launched last year called the Every Bottle Back campaign, and we support them in a number of our locations and sites. It took Pepsi and Coke and Keurig Dr. Pepper together with other associations to really get their arms around standards and communications to launch across the country. In this case, it was very North American centric, to really elevate the need for recyclability, but also the ability to use recycled content in the package. And we need that ecosystem of players to come together. We're a big player, the largest producer of rigid packaging in that space, but you guys are right there in the middle with everyone. I mean, you have MSU grads and just about every consumer packaged good player, every packaging provider out there. You have a network of incredible people that are driving that innovation. So we just see this as being a win-win-win across the whole ecosystem.
Matt Daum is the director of the MSU School of Packaging.
I can't overstate the importance of this gift and what it's going to mean to our school. We're really at a critical juncture in the history of the school, and I can't be more thrilled to partner with a global leader like Amcor, with a global leader in packaging education, which is the School of Packaging here. And so we've talked and thought and visioned for many, many years about how do we take the the School of Packaging to the next level? How do we prepare for the future? And this gift is going to do that. It's really going to help continue our separation from other packaging programs and keep us in a preeminent position.
How do Amcor and the MSU School of Packaging define sustainability?
No, great question around what exactly do we mean by sustainability? And there are many different angles you could take at it. But speaking, specifically about my business in rigid packaging, and then I'll go more broadly into all of Amcor, we love plastic, we hate plastic waste. And one of our missions is to make sure that as soon as humanly possible, every one of these bottles is made out of 100% post-consumer resin. And after we make that bottle and the consumer uses it, they put the cap back on, goes back, and 100% of them get recycled back in. So, the PET bottle, for example, is one of the only package types where you can actually do that. 100% recycled, 100% PCR infinitely. When we do that, you minimize the amount of virgin material that needs to be extracted out of the ground. And also, because so much of this is done with mechanical recycling, the greenhouse gas footprint of taking a bottle back into a bottle, it's like 70% or even more, or I should say less, greenhouse gases are emitted when you're making the plastic PET package than just about any other substrate. So back to sustainability, we want to minimize the effect that our products have on the environment. And we are absolutely convinced that we're at the forefront with the most sustainable package by any metric. 100% recyclability, minimal weight, which can lead to minimal greenhouse gases. And just keep innovating and keep pushing the envelope along those metrics.
Yeah, so the way we think about it, and we've made a pledge for our packaging to be reusable or recyclable by 2025. And what we're really talking about is, packaging that truly can be recycled or reused. That's how we're defining sustainable packaging. We've made substantial progress in that area as well. Close to 70% of our packaging is already recycle ready across the Amcor portfolio. And so we're working to close that gap between now and 2025. And the way we think about it is it's really a three-legged stool. We've got the product piece of it. We've got the infrastructure to actually be able to recycle, right? And then we've got behaviors, and we need people to actually take products to the right bin to be able to recycle. So if we get all three of those in that three-legged stool in place, we're going to be making a lot of progress across the country.
I would say even just maybe 5 years ago, the whole sustainability topic in packaging is there or has been there, but I think we reached a tipping point a few years ago. And the tipping point now is that sustainability and trying to purposely and intentionally design your packaging to be more sustainable, it's now a customer expectation. It's a business imperative. It's table stakes, really. And so companies now, I think, don't have a choice but to really address this and be purposeful about it. And so that's why, our school, we teach from a material neutral perspective. So sustainability is built into our curriculum in most of the classes. We also have specialized classes in this area. But this is where Amcor and MSU really have a similar vision and a similar commitment to doing what's right for the environment. And so that's why this partnership really fits well. It's not necessarily that there's bad packaging, there's bad packaging applications. And so trying to find not just the right materials, but the right kind of design, the right ecosystem, right? You've got to have recycling facilities and infrastructure. You need to have waste management companies bought in. You've got to have your legislation all lined up. And so it's a very intricate problem. You can't solve it with just one specific solution. So part of the motivation behind this endowed chair is that we have a voice that thinks systematically, that thinks across the whole ecosystem, the whole value chain, and can bring a data-driven perspective into the conversation and help facilitate this partnership that has to happen between a lot of different places in order to have long-term solutions.
And tell us more about Amcor.
So Amcor's a global leader in developing and producing responsible packaging. We focus on the food, beverage, pharmaceutical, medical, home, personal care markets. And we work with leading companies from around the world to protect their products and the people who rely on them. We try to differentiate their brand so they win in the marketplace. And we're also focused on supply chains around the world. As a very large global supplier, we have the ability to work with a wide network of suppliers and our very broad network of manufacturing plants to bring products to our customers.
So Amcor, we are the largest producer of primary packaging in the world. And when I say primary, what I mean is it touches the food or it touches the medicine or the medical device, whatever it may be. We've existed for 140 years. We are all over the world with 250 locations and about 50,000 employees out there. So that's Amcor overall. We're a little over 13 billion in revenue. We will have an update because we're going to announce our earnings on August 17th. And within that, we have two, what we would call big business segments. The largest portion of what Amcor does is our flexibles business. So flexible packaging would be anything from the packaging that you get when you get meat products, the plastic that goes around that, you buy your grated cheese or whatever it is from the grocery store and it comes in the pouch, all the way to the Nescafe cups, those little aluminum Nescafe cups. We actually make all of those little Nescafe cups. So it ranges over a whole variety of different package types. They're about more or less 3/4 of Amcor. The other 1/4 of Amcor is rigid packaging, and that's the business that I run. And rigid packaging is code for bottles. We make bottles that hold beverages. They also hold food, like a Hellmann's mayonnaise jar. We do some medicines. We do eyedroppers for Bausch & Lomb and Alcon and all of that. And we will make the bottle. We also will make the closure. And in the technology of making bottles, there are preforms that go into the bottle. We make those and we sell all of those. And my business, so the rigid packaging business, is in 12 countries, mostly the Americas. We have about 3 billion in revenue and around 7,000 employees.
And Matt, say more about the MSU School of Packaging and its mission.
Michigan State School of Packaging, we're the first and the oldest packaging program in the nation. We're also the largest by far. We have huge industry influence. Probably between 40 to 50% of all packaging engineers, they come out of this school. And you can find our graduates at all different levels in companies. You will find our graduates both in business leadership positions, all the way up to CEO. You find our graduates doing all kinds of technical innovation. You'd be hard-pressed to go into a store and not find a package that was created or designed by an MSU grad. So we have big influence. I would say we have very robust research, and so lots of innovation on that front. For good reason, we've had the reputation of being the premier packaging program, and I want to keep it that way. And so investments like this, partnerships like this with Amcor help us do that and maintain that status that we have, and we're not going to rest on our laurels.
Director Matt Daum, say more about what the gift will do for the school.
The vision right now is that we need to upgrade our facilities. We really need to match the facilities that we have with the leadership that we produce. Thought leadership from a technical perspective, thought leadership from a business perspective. But our facilities are quite dated. The last renovation was back in 1987. There were no cell phones. There were no laptops. The way that classes were taught is different than today's needs. And so we really want to create and update our facilities so that we're giving our students an environment that better matches what they're going to see when they go into industry. We also want this space really to be a hub. A place where thought leaders from industry, from government agencies, from NGOs feel like this is the place to be, this is the place to come when you can come and gather and talk about solving some of the great packaging sustainability challenges. The building renovation in particular is really a phase one approach. And like I said earlier, it's about modernizing what we have. Longer term, we want to continue to keep pace with the industry. The industry is growing 3 to 4% a year, and so we know that we're going to have to eventually grow as well. But this phase one really is about bringing the level up of our current facility to make it what it needs to be. The other part of the gift is going to be given for an endowed chair position, and this is really critical. And so there's a certain element when you have an endowed position where you're saying to the academic community and to industry that this is a really important area. And so that's what we want to create here in the area of sustainable packaging. It's going to attract great faculty. It's going to signal to students that they're learning from some of the best. And it's going to be a reputable voice in the whole conversation about sustainable packaging, what are the right types of solutions, and what's a data-driven approach for how we need to go forward. Sometimes I get asked, well, what does an endowed chair do? You don't really see this type of position in packaging. And so really there's three key areas that this person is going to focus on. One is just what you would normally think of in terms of material development. So new technologies, new innovation in the material space. And so that's a lot about research. And so trying to find new materials, new recycling methodologies. And of course, this is done in partnership with colleagues across the university and other universities for that matter, and in partnership with Amcor as well. So that's one of the core things, is the research in that area. The other piece of this is then going back into the classroom and teaching our students what they're learning through their research. This is also where the partnership with Amcor comes in, so that we're integrating in the latest technologies, the latest thinking, and that gets into our curriculum. That really helps separate our curriculum from other options. And then the third piece really is an outreach piece. So I'm envisioning that this person in the endowed chair, they're going to be visible in industry conferences, in government and NGO workshops and different foundations, and really bring a data-driven scientific perspective in how to help solve sustainability issues, as well as how to help guide and shape where laws and regulations can help in all of this.
We are convinced that in partnering with MSU, we're endowing the chair, which is a professorship looking at sustainability, that we can promote and actually accelerate thought leadership in this space. We need more. There's much more innovation to be had, and we think MSU is the place that's going to drive that. And we're just glad to be able to partner with you, both in that chair for the professorship, as well as helping out with the facilities in the building. And this is going to be just a start of a relationship. I'm looking forward to the next 75 MSU grads that we're going to get, bringing you all into our technology centers, letting us work with you on the whole spectrum of different opportunities out there, because we have to crack the code on this. When I talk to my kids about what I do and how proud I am to be here, in today's generation, sometimes packaging of any type gets a bad name for a variety of reasons. I say, really? You really want to move the needle? You really want to help the environment and make a real difference in greenhouse gas emissions or whatever it is? Then this is your answer. Solve the packaging problem. Figure out how to get every one of these PET bottles recycled and then made out of 100% PCR. That will do more to help the environment than just about any other activity that you can engage in anywhere. So you want to move the needle, this is where you do it. And MSU is right at the forefront of that.
We've made a commitment to the environment, and our commitment is to transform the sustainability of flexible packaging. And we see that, combining our efforts with the academic world and all the talent at Michigan State, as well as the real world experience that we have at Amcor, working with many diverse customers around the world, can really help us accelerate our efforts to bring sustainable packaging solutions to everyone. It's part of Amcor's overall strategy of open innovation. As we develop more flexible packaging solutions, And I think the partnership really offers us access to, the MSU talent, really bright minds, and just working on, how to make the world a better place. It's going to take all of us working together to make progress in this area. It's not just one single group of companies or constituencies. It's everyone working together to really advance the cause.
And Matt, what are some challenges and opportunities ahead for the packaging industry?
I think from a challenge perspective, there definitely is a lot more heightened awareness in general society about waste and pollution and the role of packaging. Packaging is very visible at times in that conversation, and so there's definitely a challenge in trying to bring to the table into the conversation all the benefits of packaging. So what doesn't get talked about as much is the food waste that's prevented from packaging, or the delivery of life-saving medicines or vaccines is totally dependent on packaging. And so there's elements like that that need to be brought into the conversation to help balance out sometimes the negative perception of packaging. So I think that's kind of the general category of challenge. Opportunities. There's lots of opportunities, everything from new material development, and that means maybe moving away from petroleum-based and maybe more other types of renewable resources, and still yet maintaining the properties of current plastics. I think another big opportunity is connecting all the different parts of the value chain. So the producers of packaging, and then the brand owners that use packaging, and then the recycling infrastructure, and helping to make the case for investment in the infrastructure for recycling. So trying to work through where the players in every node of that value chain, where they're incented, and because everyone wants to do the right thing, but how do you help bring that conversation together and then create a whole ecosystem that has long-term viability and scalability, and so there's, I think, a lot of opportunity there.
Director Matt Daum says packaging is a major for students who want to combine their varied interests to directly impact our environment.
Well, I'll tell you, packaging is something that, as a student, you don't really know about it very often, or it's not the first major that comes to your mind. So we're called a discovery major because usually people find it once they get here. But, I was inspired to go into packaging because I had a family member who actually worked with Nestle at the time. I had no idea that there were actually jobs out there to design packaging. And so what I would say to students is that this is a very unique major for this reason. It blends creativity with engineering and material science, and has business in it as well. And so it's this very interesting combination where you're creating things that people see, touch, feel, and you are able to directly have an impact on the environment. So when you're designing packaging for a company, you're front and center with customers and how they view sustainability and the environment, and you can have great impact. And we have very high starting salaries. We have one of the higher starting salaries in the university, and certainly in the college here. The other thing I'd say is we have students go to almost all the Fortune 500 companies. So we've got students, Tesla, Apple, Pepsi, you name it, and there's probably an MSU packaging grad in those companies. So fantastic way to combine lots of different interests into something that is creative and visible and tangible. And usually you'll find yourself having a great career in packaging. One more thing I would say to prospective students is that come check us out. The atmosphere in packaging is very family-like, and so in that sense, it can be different than other majors. It's not an environment where students are trying to compete with each other. This really is a collaborative environment, and it's a collaborative industry. And so that mentality lends itself to really not just becoming a packaging professional, but becoming friends with others in the profession. And you'll find that the alumni network is really, really helpful for new students, new employees, And so we have our own career fair. We have alumni that help prepare students for career fair. We have a good alumni network to keep people connected. And so, look, we're wide open. We want to make this profession available to anyone who has interest.
In summarizing the importance of Amcor's gift to the MSU School of Packaging, Dom says he hopes this is the first of many partnerships between the school and industry.
Well, first of all, I want to say a huge thank you to Amcor. I mean, this is just really unprecedented in terms of the size. It's the largest corporate gift given to MSU, direct corporate gift given to MSU, and it means a lot that they would think that highly of our program and our school. So hats off to them. That really shows a leadership perspective and vision, and we want to make good. We want to make good on that. And so that's the first thing I would say is thank you. You know, the other thing it does is it really demonstrates the kind of partnership that we want to have and that we need to have with industry. So if we're going to continue to be the premier program, and if we're going to continue to grow and develop students that the industry needs, then I'm hoping that this is just the start of many kinds of partnerships that we can have with industry that really creates a robust long-term program that meets the needs for students and for our faculty and for the companies that our students go work for.
You know, there's two other elements in working with MSU, because Amcor and MSU come into partnership, that I think are just fantastic and full of opportunity. Number one is, as we push the thought leadership and the innovation together, we're going to come up with things, and MSU will come up with things that Amcor, just by nature of our products, probably wouldn't capitalize on ourselves. But they're huge opportunities elsewhere, and that's the door that MSU can open. They are unconstrained completely. They can seed ideas into other organizations, could be other universities, NGS, maybe even other companies, in a way that we couldn't by nature of the businesses that we're in. And then, very exciting to me, I'd made the comment earlier that I'm standing on the shoulders of the giants that came before and the work that's done. Well, this is our responsibility. You know, we need to groom and train and enable the next generation of leaders, not just in packaging, but in all of sustainability, the circular economy. And we think MSU is at the forefront of that. So being able to contribute and play our part in developing that next generation of leaders is huge and gives us all a great amount of satisfaction. It's one of the things we can help give back as a leader in the industry is let's enable the future.
So I just wanted to also offer a big shout out to our all of our Michigan State alumni. Thank you for all of your efforts, co-ops, interns, full-time employees. Hopefully this demonstrates our commitment to the legacy that you're creating at Amcor, and we look forward to recruiting much more in the future from Michigan State.
We've been discussing a $10 million gift from Switzerland-based packaging innovator Amcor to the Michigan State University School of Packaging that will establish an endowed faculty position focused on sustainability and support renovations to the School of Packaging building. The contribution is the largest corporate gift in the history for the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, home to the School of Packaging. I'm Russ White for MSU Today.